Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the largest gated community in North America, spanning 26,000 acres in the Ouachita Mountains in south central Arkansas. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and some occasional guests as we explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Learning the guitar, re-embracing my love for hi-fi stereo, learning some new software, all kinds of stuff that we need to do if we're going to do it. HSV Inside Out is sponsored by Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there. Also sponsored by McGraw Realtors, located in the heart of Hot Springs Village, the fastest growing real estate office with over 30 agents and staff. Executive brokers Lori and Ken Henderson, along with realtor and waterfront specialist Rick Marshall, they're eager to share the special features of Hot Springs Village with you. For a complimentary relocation packet, call Ken and Lori at 501-276-3018 or Rick Marshall at 501-601-RICK. They are McGraw Realtors of Hot Springs Village. Today we are going to take a trip to Sam's Club. It's amazing how many of you ask, okay, where's the nearest Walmart? Where's the nearest Sam's Club or Costco? I know these are the Mecca. These are the Mecca for American shoppers. So I get it. So today let's take a trip to Sam's Club. Sam's Club is in Hot Springs. If Costco is your place of preference, then you are going to have to drive over toward Little Rock, Benton, which is the eastern town on the outskirts, or western town on the outskirts of Little Rock. So you go in one direction to get to Sam's Club, you go in the other direction to get to Costco. We are currently Sam's Club, folks. We were original Sam's Club people back many decades ago. I've done Costco before, but keep migrating back to Sam's. So we are going down Madeiras. Madeiras is the prettiest boulevard in Hot Springs Village, in my opinion. So we are coming down Madeiras, and we are coming to DeSoto Boulevard. This is the big highway, if you please, 2-lane, that bisects the village. We are headed toward the East Gate. We are in the newer section of the village. Not brand new, but newer. Back in 1970, when the village first opened up, the development began from the western gate toward the east. And over time, it has grown. And we've now got the East Gate. There's about 14 miles between the two gates, and that is not just 14 straight miles as the crow flies. It's twists and turns and ups and downs. One of the mysterious things about the village for first-time visitors is as you drive through the village from one gate, and if you go all the way to the other gate, you're just not really quite sure what you're looking at. You see a few golf courses along the way. You see a bunch of trees. You see the back of a few houses, but it just doesn't give you any sense of the scope and the scale of what 26,000 acres looks like. We're now exiting the East Gate. There you go. I know, listen, it looks like I'm speeding. I'm not. Trust me, I'm going the speed limit, which is like 30 miles an hour. I know, doesn't it seem like you're just blazing right along? This is because this video is taken with what's called an action camera. It has a really wide viewing angle, and so it just makes it look faster than it really is. And I'm not lying about that. So we are making our way to the highway that will take us to Sam's Club. And while we're taking this journey, I want to talk with you about resurrecting old hobbies or even incorporating new hobbies once we hit these retirement years. And I'm just going to confess my perspective and how even this episode came to be. I've been ruminating on this for a couple of weeks now, and how Hot Springs Village plays a role in this for me. And as I hear from other people who are currently inside the village, it has for them too. And so this is not a unique experience for me. We get to this stage of life, and our life understandably slows down. We slow down. And the things that we didn't necessarily crave when we were in our 30s and 40s, we now do. Serenity, peace, quiet. We just don't, most of us don't just need a whole lot of stimulus. We don't need a whole lot of stuff happening in our life. We likely are much less prone to be attracted to drama in any way, shape, or form than maybe we once were. And the village provides that. Additionally, from a very practical standpoint, the village provides people with some extra bandwidth financially. There are many, many, many of us in the village who, because of the cost of living in the village, now have more disposable income than we would have had if we hadn't come to the village. And that serves at least two purposes, two big ones. One, it lessens our financial stress. And number two, it gives us additional resources to do with as we please. And for many of us, embracing that spending money, especially for those of us that have been frugal all of our lives, that's different. That just feels very different. But we come to the village to live. We're not coming to the village to die. We may die here, but we're coming here to live. We're coming here because we love mountains, we love golf, we love lakes, we love big trees, we love four seasons, we love low cost of living. What's not to love? And so those things that attract us, they do drive us. And the low cost of living just helps us in so many ways when we think about resurrecting some old hobbies, or we think about incorporating some new hobbies, or I'm going to add a footnote here to just learning new things. So the genesis for this episode, some months ago, I decided, after a lifelong love affair with the guitar and having owned guitars most of my life, but never having learned how to play one, I decided it's time. If I'm going to learn, now's the time. And this happened about a month before I turned 68, which happened back in early May. And I began to think, for some reason, I can't tell you why, but Lord willing, if I continue to live and remain healthy, I'll reach the age of 70. And it's not like, okay, 70. Oh my, 70. I don't think like that. I don't care. It's a number. But my thought was, I'm going to hit 70, and at the age of 70, I can either know how to play the guitar, and I can have 2 years of experience under my belt, having figured it out, learned it, or I can reach the age of 70, and I will be just like I am today. I still will not know how to play. So which is it going to be? And I just kind of made up my mind. I want to learn. I want to learn. So I set out, and I've always watched a boatload of guitar playing on YouTube and over the internet, Instagram. Instagram is where musicians hang out, by the way. So if you want to clue in there. And I stumble onto a 19-year-old young man who lives in Central California. He's played the guitar for about 10 years. He's what's called a finger picker. And that was a particular style I wanted to learn. And he was able to his videos just resonated with me. I think he as a person resonated with me. His style and his approach resonated with me. And I began because I did not want to just learn how to play songs. I did not want to learn, okay, here's how you play this song. Okay, now let's learn this other song. And at the end of 5 years, 10 years, I know how to play a lot more songs, but I just know how to play the songs I know how to play. I wanted more than that, which meant I really wanted to understand music, which necessarily meant I need to have some understanding. I'm not talking university level understanding, but I wanted to have some understanding of music theory. I want to know how music's made. I want to learn the fretboard. And my analogy to him, when he and I were having a conversation before I agreed to kind of hire him as my online teacher, I said it's exactly like it was for me in the 7th grade learning to type. I wanted to write, and I wanted to write using a typewriter, but I didn't know how to type. So I needed to take typing, and I did, and I learned to type. And for many, 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 many years, I don't think about where the keys are. I just know. All I have to do is think about the words. I just have to think about what word do I want to write, and my fingers do the rest. And I said, I'd like to be able to get to a point. I'm not expecting to be Chet Atkins now, but I want to get to a point where I can get it out of my head through my fingers onto the guitar. Am I aiming too high? And immediately, without hesitation, he said, no, not at all. And I said, well, that's why I'm talking to you. That's why I'm not just interested in learning how to play songs. I've used this illustration before, but you know, that sentence that we all learned to type when we first learned to type, the one that involves all of the letters of the alphabet, you know, quick brown fox did something. I don't want to just learn how to type a sentence. I want to learn how to write a sentence and be able to play it. So that's what started all of this. And it obviously is, I've engaged in countless conversations with other people who've heard me talk about my quest for the guitar, and other people who talk about how important their hobbies are. And then I talk to other people, sadly, who don't have a hobby, and maybe they've never had a hobby, and I will say, yeah, me neither. You know, I was busy working. But the more I kept thinking about this, especially over the last 2 weeks, I thought, okay, I'm being very limited in the way I'm defining hobby. And I'll give you another illustration. Stereo equipment, playing music, listening to records at home with a sound system, with a really good stereo system. So 15-year-old me walks into a stereo shop for the first time to ask for a job. I'd gone into hi-fi shops all my life. I mean, I loved them. But on this particular day, for some reason, I thought, I'm going to go try to get a sales job. And I walk in. No, we don't need anybody. But some way, somehow, I end up in front of the owner of the store. We're in the back of this store. He's at his desk. I'm sitting across from him, and he's just grilling me with hi-fi stereo equipment questions. And the only question I remember is him asking me about Marantz receivers. Do you know what that model number for a Marantz receiver means? And I said, yes, the last 2 digits represents the wattage per channel. I knew that. I'd never owned a Marantz receiver, but I knew stereo equipment. Well, he clearly was impressed, and he knew that I knew what I was talking about, so he hired me, and the rest is history. I spent the rest of my career in the stereo business, which did morph into the video business, and what came to be known as the consumer electronics business. That was my career, running retail organizations that sold consumer electronics, in some cases sold other things as well, but that was the basis of my whole career. And it started as a junior high kid who just studied this stuff and listened to a boatload of music until I finally had the bravery or gumption or whatever it was to go get a job in that space. Is that a hobby? It was way more than a hobby. It was a passion. I loved it. I just loved it. So as we begin this conversation, let me impose on you to reflect on the things that excite you or the things that maybe once excited you. For me, I go back to 15-year-old me who absolutely studied hi-fi equipment and who listened to music hours and hours and hours and hours. Hobby? I don't know. People wouldn't think that that's a hobby, but it was a passion. There are things that maybe you once loved, or maybe there were things that you were curious about. For me, curiosity is a big, big deal. Come on, that's the impetus for this whole show. Hot Springs Village, Inside Out. I began this show because I was curious about this place. I had all kinds of questions. I didn't understand this place at all, which is the whole point of this show, to try to help you better understand, because there was no Hot Springs Village InsideOut.com. I couldn't find hardly anything about this place. And I'm like, how have I lived in the state right next door to Arkansas, and I've never heard of this place? How is this place, at the time it was approaching its 50th anniversary, we're now 55. How has this happened? Well, I don't know, and I'm not throwing rocks at anybody. This is not a throw people under the bus for a lack of marketing. It's just I don't know. I more people are finding out about it, I can tell you. And we're playing some small itsy bitsy part about it. We're coming up on the roundabout, by the way, which is great. It's awesome. And once people around here figured out how to work a roundabout, it's pretty awesome. So we're going to go 3/4 around the roundabout, and we're going to take the highway that is the bypass. This bypass makes the trip, especially from certain parts of the village, it makes the trip into Hot Springs much easier. Plus, it's a pretty drive. It's a really pretty drive, and I like it. I can tell you what I hate about it. What I hate about it is, there's two things I hate about it. One, you lose internet connectivity, which I don't care about that. You lose cell service. I only care about that because of playing music in the car. So right in the middle of a song, you'll lose your cell service, and all of a sudden, okay, the music stops. That's not great. It'll come back, but it's because you're in low places and peaks and valleys on this mountainous area. The other thing is just riding brakes all the way downhill. I get it. We don't want to just careen out of control at the foot of a hill, but when the speed limit is 55, and you're going 40 miles an hour up the hill, can you just time it where you crest the hill and you can just kind of comfortably coast? And okay, yeah, you start getting over the speed limit, or you get too far over the speed limit, you start tapping the brakes. But man, there are people, they get to the top of the hill, brake lights all the way down the hill, and you're just riding your brake all the way. The brake companies, the brake repair companies have got to love it. They just have to love it. I don't. So think about what excites you. Think about what excited you when you were younger. And that, I think, can help us figure out if there's something we want to resurrect, or our curiosity can fuel us to just get on with it. For me, the guitar, no, I didn't. It wasn't a past hobby because I never had learned, but I always had a love affair with it. And so now it's like, okay, I've got the time. I've got a little bit of money that I can pay a 19-year-old young man to teach me, and off we go. Start small and be realistic. So my first conversation, I said, listen, I'm not trying to be Mark Knopfler or Chet Atkins or Eric Clapton. I just want to know how to play music. And as the guitar players say, I want to be able to noodle, just sit and noodle on the guitar. So there was no pressure for me to become an expert immediately. I knew it was going to be arduous. I knew it was going to be difficult. And I also knew that I needed to try to figure out a way to enjoy the process and to focus on this experience And I do focus on the outcome because that makes the struggle worth it, but I'm not so focused on the outcome to not enjoy this process of learning these strings, learning where the notes are, learning these things about music and how music is made. I know some people who in a prior life, they painted. I mean, fine art painting, not house painting. And they want to resurrect that. And some of them are just, they're easing into it. I know other people that have just, they dive in headlong. I mean, they go from not having any supplies to, I mean, they get online and they have ordered hundreds and thousands of dollars of, it's whatever you want to do. For me, it's better to just kind of be willing to start small and be realistic. So for me, I'm setting some very reasonable goals when it comes to learning the guitar. I know I'm not going to get there overnight. I know it's going to take me time to develop calluses on my fingertips so that fretting a string on the guitar doesn't hurt. I also know that finger dexterity, I'm going to have to keep working on that. My little finger and my thumb, they have a mind of their own. They do not want to do what I need them to do in order to try to learn how to play the guitar. But I have zero muscle memory for these things because I've never done it before. A third, the social interaction, I think is important, and I'm going to freely admit I've missed the boat on this one. And I would combine this with just this sense of community. Let me give you, for instance, do you suppose that inside Hot Springs Village there are a number of guitar players, people that are my age, maybe older, maybe younger, but people in their 60s, maybe older, who have been playing the guitar all their life? I guarantee you there are. Do you think any of them would willingly help me learn? And do you think there are any of them who not only would help me learn, but they would enjoy being able to teach me? I guarantee there are. I don't know any because I'm an introvert and I don't want to go impose on people. And I do intellectually understand that that's problematic because I also know that somewhere sitting inside the village are a number of players who would absolutely love to help a guy like me, but I'm not giving them the opportunity. Well, that's on me. That's on me. Did you hear the sneezing in the background? I'll come back around to that. My father, he's 101. We brought him over to the village for a couple of weeks. He's in there watching some John Wayne Western movie. I'm like an idiot. I didn't close my door. And so he had a sneezing fit. It's good. I'm going to leave that in. I'm going to leave that in. One day I'll look back and I'll realize, yeah, caught my dad sneezing in this show. And now you did too. So social interaction, sense of community, I think it's important. For me, I know a lot of people get really amped up about physical activity, and the village can certainly facilitate that because, well, we have lake and we have lake activities. We have golf, we have pickleball, we have tennis, and there are many, many of us, and one or more of those things, they're hobbies. I know people, and guess what they love to do? They love to walk their dogs. Okay, is that a hobby? No, but they love to do it. So I'm going to include it. Because frankly, my barometer for all of this, my measurement for all of this is just joy, fun, fulfillment, pursuing something maybe you always wanted to pursue, like me with the guitar. Maybe pursuing something that you just would like to learn. And maybe there's some utility to it. I'll give you, for instance, there's a piece of software used by a lot of Apple Macintosh folks to edit videos. I've got it. This video you're looking at was edited on this piece of software. It's hundreds of dollars. I don't have a clue how to use this thing. I know just enough to get by. So back in January, I bought an online course. I'll have access to it for the rest of my life. And you do it at your leisure, and they update it constantly as the program gets updates. They update it. It's really good. And I've watched maybe 10 minutes. I mean, I've got it and I'm interested. It serves high utility. Is it a hobby? No, it's not a hobby, but I'm trying to learn something new. I'm trying to learn a piece of software that I've never worked with it before. I started working with this about, 3 months ago. And I didn't pay any attention to tutorials or anything. I just dove in because I've got a little bit of technical skill that I kind of sort of could figure it out on my own. And now, okay, I'm tapping. I'm capped out. Now I need to go take that course and I need to learn this. Do I want to be a stud muffin video editor? No. But I want to get better because I want this show to get better. And so for that reason, it's high utility. I need to learn it. Not because I want to spend my days doing that, but if I'm going to do it, I want to be able to do it better. And maybe there's something in your life that's like that. For me, I started with curiosity, and I just really started thinking about, the things that used to light me up. And of course, it immediately went to music, which went to the guitar, and then it went to stereo equipment. About 20 years ago is when I last had my last really killer stereo system. I'm not talking about something that connects to your TV. I'm talking about just a left and a right channel, 2 channels, and you just play music. And I had a system that was focused around a pair of speakers that was built by a man that I came to befriend. And his father built the cabinets. He engineered these speakers, and they were to die for. Unfortunately, his father passed away. I sold my system 15 years ago, and I really wanted a pair of these speakers. Well, there's none to be had. So I go chasing and trying to figure this out, and I'm getting a pair of these speakers. Now, I'm not going to tell you how, but I'm getting a pair of these speakers, and I'm going to resurrect that system. Is that a hobby? Yeah, it's a hobby because I love it. It's a passion. I haven't had a really good killer stereo system in 15 years. And I'm enjoying the process of trying to get this thing kind of built back together. But you know what I'm going to enjoy even more? When I get it all put together, now I can just sit and listen. And it's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. I do a podcast that I've done for well over 20 years, going on 25, 26 years, called Leaning Toward Wisdom. It's over at leaningtowardwisdom.com. I post it over there. I've got a really rinky-dink small cult group in a Facebook group. And I posted, if you've got a killer stereo system, what's the first record you would play? What's the first music that you would play through it? And I said, I'll start. And I posted an album cover of 1974, Jackson Browne, Late for the Sky. Since 1974, that record has been in my top 3. It has never fallen out of the top 3. That's me. You do you. But when I get my system together, I'm already thinking, yeah, Jackson Browne, Late for the Sky. Let's get that record going. Let's pump it through there. And I'll probably listen to it 2 or 3 times in a row. That kind of oomph that you feel about something, yeah, get in touch with that. Get in touch with that, whatever that thing is. We're sitting here at these ages, at this retirement age, and I don't think these things are based on performance. I talk to people who love pickleball. They're not necessarily trying to be competitive pickleball players. Some are, but most people just enjoy the camaraderie. They enjoy the community. They enjoy getting out there. They enjoy cutting up with each other. They enjoy the sport. They enjoy the activity. They enjoy the physical exercise. We're in Hot Springs, by the way, and we've exited. We're headed toward Sam's. We're almost there, kids. So we're going to stop at this light, and then we're going to go through. We're going to go through this light, then we're going to go one more light down, and on our left is going to be. It's going to be the Mecca. It's the shopping Mecca for most all of America that doesn't do Costco. Sam's Club. We get gas there. Spoiler alert, $2.63 a gallon. So this is in June 2025 that we're making this trek. There's a Best Buy in here. There's restaurants in here. As we take the turn, you're going to see Panda. I'm a big fan of Panda Express. It's not on my diet. That's a topic for another day. I'm doing this carnivore diet. Have you heard of this thing? Yeah, Google it. I'm doing this thing. Hopefully the weight loss, that'll kick in, but that really isn't the reason I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I just want to feel better. Okay, just that quick, we went to Sam's. Yeah, 2 hours later. 2 hours and hundreds of dollars. So we're headed back. So we are coming back up on the bypass. We're not quite there yet. We're going to come on the bypass, and we're obviously headed back into the village. So this is the other view of this bypass as we head toward that roundabout that you saw. So this is the return trip. Where was I? I think at this age, we're certainly in these positions where there's just other things that matter to us. And it's not so much about the performance. It may be even not about the achievement, just the participation, just being able to do it. Getting out on a golf course with a bunch of friends, with some buddies, with family, with whatever, and just, is it all about the score? No. Is it all about winning the pickleball game? No. It can be, and that's okay too. But just the activity itself and just the process itself. So I don't care if you're learning the guitar. I don't care if you're learning a piece of software. I don't care if you're playing any of these sports. I don't care if you're walking your dog. I don't care if you're breaking out the oils and the paintbrushes to rekindle your old oil painting passion of your youth. Whatever that is, this is the time. Because these retirement years is a great time it's a time for reinvention, and I think maybe a better word is rejuvenation. And we don't always think about that. We don't think about hitting this age and being rejuvenated. We usually think about, I'm tired. There's that joke, and we can all relate to it. It's where you're kind of hoping it's late enough in the day that you can go ahead and go to bed. And then you look at your clock and you realize it's only 7:30. And then some nights you just talk yourself into, I'm going to bed anyway. But isn't that great? Tell me that's not great. Tell me that that's not some freedom. There were times in my life where it's like, man, if my head hit the pillow before 2:00, I was doing good, man. And now I'm looking at the clock at 8:30 and I'm thinking, it's time to wind this day down, man. It's time to go brush the teeth and get under the covers, man. I think it's great. I really do. This is the time to reinvent. This is the time to rejuvenate. We come to Hot Springs Village to live. And so let's just make the most of it. And if that reinvention for you looks similar to mine, to reinvent yourself as, okay, I'm going to be a 68-year-old beginner guitar player. And there's something magical about being a beginner again. I think that's part of the rejuvenation. I think that's part of the reinvention of just, I mean, how long's it been since you were a beginner at anything? And now at this stage of life, we can be a beginner. I'm a beginner. I'm a rookie. I'm a novice. I'm a rube. And it's kind of good. It's kind of great. I mean, I wish I weren't, but if you have to be one, better to go ahead and get started, which is kind of what compelled me with this whole journey and this whole conversation of I'd rather be a beginner guitar player at 68 than 70. Because at 70, I want to be, I'm 2 years in. I'll be a grizzled veteran in 2 years, Lord willing. So think about this rhythm of life that you have. Think about the way that you live your life now. And for me, instead of lamenting that 8:30 seems like it's late enough to go to bed, I don't sit around and pine for the days when I could stay up till 2 o'clock. Because now I'm thinking, how stupid. What an idiot. I mean, just go to bed. Because sleep is hard. I'm a hopeless insomniac and always have been, but I love it. It's not that I don't like it. I don't know, hard to turn the mind off and all that. We are not the same people we were 30 years ago. We're not the same people that we were a decade ago. However, I will argue that this shift in perspective that we now have at these ages, this retirement age, makes us better than we've ever been. I tell my coaching clients, I have a coaching practice where I coach city government leaders. And I tell clients probably every day, they probably get sick of hearing me say it, I've never been better. I've never been 68 until May of this year. But I've never had this much experience. I've never had this much knowledge. I've never had this much skill. I've never had this much opportunity. I mean, the internet changed everything. I've never known this many people. I've never had a collection of this many really good people in my life. And for that reason, I've never been better. So why not take every advantage of that? And why not take every advantage of that when it comes to those things that you most want to pursue? I'll give you another one that really is popular here in the village, and that is travel. Travel's popular among retired people all over, but travel in particular, cruising, going on cruise ships. Now, I don't personally have any desire at all, but there are people who absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And I think it's awesome. It's awesome. And the village, I can promise you, the village provides an opportunity for way more people to afford taking on something like that than they could if they hadn't come to the village. Because the cost of living is so much lower, as we take this roundabout, the cost of living is so much lower than where they came from. And or they could sell their house where they came from and make enough money to pay cash for a house in the village and have money left over to invest or to put in their savings. And now the world's their oyster. And it's great and it's wonderful. And oh, by the way, you're coming to a community. If you come to the village, you're coming to a community where I don't care where you live. I don't care what your house looks like. You want to go keep up with the Joneses? Sure, we got places where you can go do that. But for those of us that are the average bears, we don't care. We don't care. We love our house, however modest it may be, however fancy it may be. One man's ceiling's another man's floor and all that. But nobody cares. I'm telling you, just nobody cares. And that's pretty stinking great too. Be open to fail. We got to be open to fail, and we just got to laugh about it. There are so many things that I've just absolutely stepped in and fallen on my face, and I'm sitting here on a Zoom call looking at my guitar teacher and thinking, this kid has just, if I was 19 and some old dude was trying to learn guitar and I was trying to teach him, I'd just want to beat him over the head with the instrument before it was over. But he's patient, and I'm asking idiotic, dumb questions, and I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to get it wrong. He'll ask me a question and he'll say, okay, where's this note on this string? And I'll look at him and I'll say, I don't have a clue. And then he'll remind me, okay, well, we went over it. And I said, dude, you can go over it 10 more times and I'm still not going to remember it. I mean, it's going to take me a while, and he just chuckles and laughs. I think we've got to be willing to do that, because every start is clumsy. My favorite quote, I just own it now because I've never been able to find out who said it. I wrote this in a notebook 100 years ago. Everything is hard until it's easy. Well, I've never been able to find out where I got that. I promise you I'm not smart enough to have come up with that on my own. But I wrote it down back in my 20s, and it's just kind of become the mantra for my life because it's just so true. Okay, we're going to turn on the Danville Road now. And Danville, once we we don't get to the end of the road, but once we get to the village, we can re-enter the village. We can also exit through the Danville Gate, named for the road that this is on, Danville Road. So we came out the East Gate, but the East Gate is some miles on down the highway. So this is a shortcut into the village. Now, it depends on where you live. For us, it's a shortcut. So we're going to take this road 6 miles, give or take. This is a pretty little drive, too. There's a bunch of pretty little drives. But this is what big trees and hills will do for you. So laughing about it and failing, I'm willing to be an idiot, because it's, until it gets easy, it's going to be hard. And we just have to make up our mind that we're willing to endure the hard. And so for me, it's awkward. It's clumsy. In some cases, it's agonizing. And there are many days I hate it. But I'm also learning, and as odd as this sounds, some of the hatred is just kind of fun. It's just kind of fun to hate. I hate grinding this out, but I know I need to if I want what I want. And here's my guitar teacher's approach. If you want to play like a particular person, then think about that player and think about, in order to play what they can play and to play how they play, there are things that they have to know. What is it that they know that you don't? Then you need to get busy learning that. And that resonated with me. And I thought, that's right. That's exactly right. So for me, the fun is the process of learning this stuff that I know is not easy, because if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. Of course, then he laughs when I tell him, I said, I think of all the heroin addicts that know how to play the guitar. I'm like, surely a sober 68-year-old guy can figure this out. But that's me. So what are your hobbies? What are the things that you wish were your hobbies, but they're not? But if you had the time and the money and the opportunity, you'd pursue them. Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, can help you do that in a variety of ways. The peace, the tranquility, the bandwidth in your life, and the serenity that you can get. But maybe more importantly, the cost of living. The resources that you will have at your disposal, because the daily cost of living, the monthly cost of living in Hot Springs Village is, for most of us, it's a big difference. It's a meaningful difference in our lifestyle, particularly in the things that we want to do with our money, that we just want to do with our money, because we want to live, and we want to live maybe differently than we lived before by pursuing some things that we've never pursued before. We're coming up on the Danville Gate. This is a gate that you will have to be a member of the Property Owners Association. You'll have to have a card. You got to flash that up. You hear this beep, and then the gate will open, and presto changeo. You are inside the village. Anybody can exit, but not anybody can enter. So that's the way these other gates work. The East Gate and the West Gate, these are manned gates. These are the two gates that, as a visitor, you will have to enter one or the other. There's a golf cart. I don't recommend driving a golf cart on this kind of a road, but some people do. So I appreciate you clicking play, and I hope you figure out what's best for you. That's kind of the point of all these conversations. The website is hotspringsvillageinsideout.com. The short way to get there is hsvinsideout.com. My name's Randy Cantrell, but you knew that, and you don't care, and you shouldn't, because Hot Springs Village is the star of the show. I'm glad you took this journey with me. I wish you could have contributed to the Sam's Club bill. We got some rain hitting us. It's about 85 degrees, late morning, June 2025. And we're just fixing to make our turn to the gate. And we'll wrap this trip up, and we'll call it a day. Thanks for coming along. Till next time. See ya. Thanks for watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out. You'll find all our episodes at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com or on YouTube.